Welcome to pre-inauguration Friday, or put another way, the last Friday in the hideous, heinous, outrageous Biden regime. Free at last. Free at last. You know what this idiot did today? This guy can't leave fast enough. You know what this idiot did today? He claims to have amended the Constitution. Did you see that, Mr. Producer? I mean, he's becoming a laughingstock now. He gives all these lectures about autocracy and what about the threats to democracy in Silicon Valley. And the next day, he signs a document claiming to amend the Constitution. Along with what? Another couple thousand clemencies or something? Commutations? Epic Times, Biden ratifies new constitutional amendment. President Joe Biden on January 17, that would be today, announced that the Equal Rights Amendment is the law of the land, despite the U.S. archivist recently saying the president can't ratify a constitutional amendment. This guy has been sitting in the Oval Office. He takes an oath to uphold the Constitution 412 times. And this is what he does? It's long past time. Long past time, says the fascist, to recognize the will of the American people. We, the American people, were sitting around, what the hell is he talking about? In keeping with my oath and duty to Constitution and country, I affirm what I believe and what 3/4 of the states have ratified. The 28th Amendment is the law of the land, guaranteeing all Americans equal rights and protections under the law regardless of their sex. I didn't think we had sexes anymore. But that's a whole other story for another day. Biden pointed to how Virginia in 2020 became the 38th state to ratify the ERA, which prohibits discrimination on the basis of gender. The U.S. archivist and U.S. deputy archivist said in late 2024, President can't ratify the amendment because the amendment did not receive the required support from 3/4 of the states by the deadline Congress imposed, which was June 30, 1982. So here we are, 43 years later. And the dummy wakes up, puts the dentures in his mouth, puts on a clean new pair of Depends, looks in the mirror, says, hey, I have an idea. What? I'll ratify an amendment to the Constitution 45 years after the fact, or whatever the hell it is, 43 years after the fact. The Department of Justice's Office of Legal Counsel in 2020, while Donald Trump was president, and in 2022 after Biden took office, also said ratification cannot occur unless Congress or the courts extend or remove the ratification deadline. It was passed by Congress and sent to the states with a 7-year deadline, that the states had 7 years to do it. They didn't do it. There are many problems with this amendment. Many. Because men and women are not equal in many, many ways. We're not even talking about rights and liberties. We're talking about much more than that. And among other things people feared is women would be immediately drafted into the military because you can't make any distinctions between men and women. How stupid is that? All you have to do is look in the mirror with a man and a woman. You see distinctions. But beyond that. The American Bar Association is among the organizations that have offered a different view. Of course, their view means nothing. Bunch of slip-and-fall lawyers who decided to start an organization. Virginia's ratification was sufficient to meet the 3/4 requirement, and the deadline is not relevant, they declared. This is the American Bar Association. This is why I resigned from this group right after law school, right after I got my degree, right after I passed the bar. I said, I'm not joining this clown operation. But Biden said, I agree with the ABA and with leading legal constitutional scholars. What'd they do? Wake up and dust off Lawrence Tribe again? So the amendment process and the amendment passed by Congress said you got 7 years, that's the cap, but the ABA decided it's not right. And a few knuckleheads in law school decided no. So Biden said, you know what, I'm agreeing with them. Spokesperson for the U.S. National Archives and Records Administration, which is headed by the archivist, told the Epoch Times in an email that the position outlined by the archivist, Colleen Shogan, appointed by Biden, by the way, and the deputy archivist, remains the same. This is a long-standing position for the archivist and the National Archives. The underlying legal and procedural issues have not changed. And the Office of Legal Counsel, even his Office of Legal Counsel, the Justice Department, said, no, you can't do this, but I'm going to listen to the ABA. But Democrat lawmakers have been urging Biden to ratify the amendment and express support after his announcement on Friday. The president is right. The ERA is the law of the land. Today is one step closer to full dignity for women. We don't have women in this country anymore, thanks to you idiots. Don't you get it? Full dignity for women. And every American, said Representative Mark Takano. The hell is this guy? Democrat, California, said in a post on social media, a.k.a. in his case, socialist media. Now, Republicans, the ERA of 1972 failed to gain the necessary support from the states before its deadline, and no court has since held that the deadline can be retroactively disregarded. The U.S. Constitution states that an amendment can be proposed by a two-thirds vote of both houses of Congress, or if two-thirds of the states request one in a special convention. That's called Convention of States. We're going to try and breathe some more life into that in this coming year. The proposed amendment must be ratified by three-fourths of the states. But some lawmakers have proposed waiving the deadline, but none of those proposals have passed. There's no precedent for waiving a deadline after it has passed, according to New York University's Brennan Center for Justice. The courts could end up deciding the matter. No, they can't. Courts have nothing to do with it. The last amendment to the Constitution was ratified by enough states in 1992. The archivist at the time certified the ratification. Congress then approved the amendment. So here we are. Knucklehead dingbat, what did he do? Graduate last in his class at the law school? I can't remember. Pretty damn close. The Justice Department says no. The National Archives says no. But Biden says, but the American Bar Association says yes. If some homeless guy in the corner said yes, Biden would cite that person. But the point is, the man is lawless. He didn't uphold our immigration laws. He didn't uphold Supreme Court decisions on student loans. He does this on the way out the door, and then he's lecturing us about the rule of law. Oligarchs, autocrats. I'm very worried, he says. You can do anything, according to him, the Democrats, the left, and the media, if it's in pursuit of the radical left agenda. That's the bottom line. You can be a Manchurian president whose family has received millions from the communist Chinese, our enemy. Doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. You can steal classified information as a senator or as a vice president without any constitutional immunity, because he wasn't president at the time. Doesn't matter. You can run around sniffing the hair of little girls and giving them little massages right there in public. Doesn't matter. You can be accused of molesting a staffer when you're a senator in a dark hallway of the Capitol building. Tara Reid's allegation. Doesn't matter. You could have been a white supremacist early in your career as a senator, not a follower, a leader, with the worst of the racists and the segregationists. Nonetheless, you will be celebrated by The View. You will be celebrated by black organizations. You will be celebrated by your party and the media. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Joe Biden believes tonight that he ratified a new amendment to the Constitution. He really believes it.